You want to prepare a detailed, focused, and immersive role-playing game experience, but you also want your players to freely choose where they go and what they do in ways that drive the campaign in fun and even surprising directions. Known as the railroad and the sandbox, these approaches sound like opposites, but you can do both, and I'm going to break down these 5 steps that any DM can use to make it happen. And this all started when I asked the question, what's the biggest or most common problem you face as a dungeon master? Then cool D&D YouTuber Blaine Simple described this age-old struggle, ending with, finding that middle ground is my hardest problem. And hundreds of people agreed. So Blaine and friends, I'm here to show you the middle ground between railroad and sandbox. Step 1. Create and scatter plot points, not an outline. What does this hand-drawn map from my very first D&D campaign have in common with open-world masterpieces like Skyrim and Breath of the Wild, and Aladdin? They show you the world, but not the whole world, just a piece, and scattered across it are plot points marked by interesting land features, the realm of the Great Tree, Jotnar's Cave, the town of Woodsylvania. And that's about it. You do not need to know almost anything about these plot point locations when you create them, because until your party goes to one, they're all just potential plot points, hopefully among a variety of environments inhabited by a variety of peoples that will each have their own problems that the party could help with, but not yet. This first step is also a great place to plug in content from pre-written adventures like our amazing sponsor, The Sunken Isles. From the awesome folks behind The Seeker's Guide to Twisted Taverns and Grim Hollow, this tropical island adventure includes new character options, magical tattoos, fun mechanics for harvesting, trading, and crafting materials, and simply integrating sailing directly into combat, all throughout a level 1 to 20 adventure with branching paths that make it a perfect plug for this video. So check out the Sunken Isles Kickstarter through the link below. But all you really need to create intriguing plot points is a cool location with a descriptive name. The Keep on the Borderland, the Isle of Dread, the Lost Mine of Phandelver. Seriously, that's all you need. Create 3 to 6 of these points so your party will have options, but not too many options. Then place them at least a day's travel away from the party's starting location and at least a day away from each other. But do not try to outline how the party should progress from one location to the next. There is no next. These are islands with little to no information, and at this stage, that's perfect. Step 2 is where we add a little bit of detail. Step 2. Find and seed shallow plot hooks. And I specifically say find, because the plot hooks are probably already there if you used a cool location with a descriptive name. We just need to discover the connection to the party, and shallow because this hook just needs to make one of your players say, hey, maybe we should go there. So Lost Mine of Phandelver sounds like a place that might have gold or other valuable materials. It's a mine, so there could be dwarven relics. The fact that it's lost should also be interesting on its own. And Phandelver, yeah, maybe there's elves. Those are quick and increasingly ridiculous examples, but this should be quick. For each location, you're just finding 1 to 2 surface level connections to 1 or 2 player characters through their class, race, personality, or backstory. But at this point, you do not need or really want a major backstory connection. We'll get there. And you can include shallow hooks between these plot point locations, but you don't need that either. It's actually really nice when the party regularly returns to a home base instead of just going from quest to quest to quest, gaining like 3 levels of power over the course of a week in-game. The other crucial part here is that you do not necessarily want a quest giver to just approach your party and dish out one of these shallow plot hooks, a la, oh, adventurers, the blacksmith's children were captured by goblins. You need to save them. You want to seed at least 2 of these hooks almost simultaneously, so the party has options, and do it so their discovery and interest in these locations is as organic as possible. They should come across an old map of the region. They could see a number of these landmarks from a tower or mountain or in a dream. They could overhear people swapping rumors at a tavern, or they could find a literal quest board. That's a perfectly valid and efficient option for seeding multiple quests at once, but only if adventures are actually common in the setting. Overall, it's best to leave some of this hook seeding up to chance, so even you will be surprised when and how they come up naturally. Speaking of chance, random encounters are a fun way to keep the game exciting for everyone. but it's really easy to do poorly and be really boring, so listen up. Totally a chihuahua, just right out there. Step 3. Plan 1 to 2 random encounters for the nearest points, also prep names. Early on, you want 1 to 2 encounters associated with each plot point location near the party's starting location. So something interesting can happen during their travel, but these encounters should be barely random. In fact, they are only random because they may or may not happen at all. The actual content of the encounter, whether social, combat, or exploratory, or a mix of all three, must be related to the location it's associated with. So you cannot just grab a table from Reddit or Xanathar's Guide. You can start there, but you have to whittle it down to a small number of encounters that actually give your party more information about whatever is going on at its respective plot point. And through planning these encounters, you are now starting to learn and flesh out what is actually going on at these locations. Choose a relevant monster, create an NPC, think of some natural or magical phenomenon that could challenge the party in some way. Just make sure it's tied to the location where they're headed. And please create a list, a short list of NPC names somewhere during this stage because you're going to need that list of names. Okay, and you know what? Here's a list of names, and I'm going to put these at the end of the pinned comment below so you can copy and paste them. And while you're down there, consider giving this video a thumbs up if you're finding it helpful. Now, in an ideal world, you're able to complete those 3 steps before your first session, but you can work on them at any time. Once your game is in motion, you absolutely must end your sessions with the first part of step 4. Ask where the party's going next, flesh it out, and deepen the plot hook. You can't dismiss your players until they tell you where they want to go next. That's the only way you can really know which location you need to prepare. And even then, sometimes they may change their mind and choose a different place, but this way it's way more reasonable for you to say, hey, you said you were going here, so that's what I have ready to go now. I can have that other place ready to go next time, but it probably wouldn't be as cool if we go there right now because I haven't had a chance to prepare. Next, you actually flesh it out. And a little sidebar here. I really wanted to say, build it, because it'd be kind of like on brand, haha. But no, I went with flesh it out because I see a lot of people in the D&D community, even creators, constantly saying flush it out, which is definitely a different thing. Anyway, this is where using a pre-written module can do a lot of the work for you, but again, you don't need one. You already have a cool location type with a descriptive name to pull inspiration from, plus you have a monster type, NPC, or natural or magical phenomenon to pull inspiration from. So you just need to connect about half the dots, figuring out how those things may have come together. And I say half the dots because you should really only come up with the mystery or challenge that your party is facing here. You are not supposed to come up with how they will solve it. That is all up to the players and the dice. The only other thing you should plan here is to give one element of this place a deeper connection to one of the player characters. Neither you nor an NPC should explain this connection. The player needs to discover it organically, even if it happens long after they leave this place. And honestly, it's better for them to never make the connection than for you to just give it away. The best part? You probably don't even have to do the work for this part of this step. Usually, the players will just speculate about a location, wondering what deeper secrets or purpose this place could hold. So, you should not only take notes on their predictions to capitalize on during your game prep, but also steer this discussion by literally engaging the characters. Step 5. Ask each character, not player, at least one question per session to add details. During travel, combat, downtime, whenever, each session you should ask each character at least one question about their thoughts on this plot point. Hey Aragorndolf, what do you think is in the Lost Mine? Ask for an observation about the landscape, or ask what's something unique floating in the gelatinous cube squirming towards them. You can even ask 2 characters the same question to spark an in-character discussion. It's helpful but not necessary to prepare these questions beforehand. Just keep them open-ended, so even if they're focused on specific elements that you want the party to consider, they still get to create some meaningful details. And don't worry if their answer doesn't make sense right away. If it's totally ridiculous or goes against the tone of the game, you can let those ones be forgotten. But Those weird answers are often the ones that get you thinking outside the box. But what do you do if your players are just not engaged in the game? After all, that was the second biggest problem on this post. So I'll probably make another video about that and put it over here. But for now, here's an old-ish video about keeping your players' attention. So thanks for your attention. Remember to check out the Sunken Isles and keep building.